Welcome back to Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. This is Life Coach Myrna I, and you're listening to 5-Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Today, I want to talk on the topic, building trust. Why Jesus asked Simon for a push. Now, by the time Jesus got to starting to, get his disciples going, he already was doing a lot of miracles. He'd already been baptized by John. And we know that he didn't really need help. He was operating in the realm of being God in the flesh. But the Bible teaches us that after Jesus was baptized and he was filled with the Holy Spirit and performed miracles and healed the sick with one touch, then he went and asked Simon for a push. So we want to ask the question today, why did Jesus ask Simon for a push when he clearly did not need it? That he can clearly do whatever he needed for himself. This is the man that can walk in water and can raise the, people from the dead. So in this episode, I want to look at how we can establish trust by asking for help, because that's the spin that I'm going to put on this. Jesus asked Simon for a push, and then afterwards, he asked him to follow him and become his disciple. So he was establishing trust. So I will unpack that as we go into. But first, let me share with you the story, just in case you are not aware of it. The biblical account in the New Testament found in the Gospel of Luke, Luke 5, chapter 11, narrates how Jesus met Simon, a fisherman, by the Sea of Galilee. Simon had been out fishing all night without success. Jesus approached, stepped into Simon's boat, and asked him to push him out from the shore so he can teach to the crowd gathered there. Simon agreed, and Jesus taught from the boat. It is essential to grasp the significance of this seemingly mundane request. By asking Simon for a push, Jesus established a connection of trust with him. He didn't immediately launch into a sermon or call for discipleship. Instead, he met Simon's immediate need, displaying empathy and practicality. Because later on, he told Simon to cast the net again, and they drew in a whole bunch of fish. So that was basically the start of the relationship. But I want to point out is that in a similar way, pastors know that they need to feed the body of the sheep before they feed the soul. You can't go telling people how God loves you and to, follow Jesus and they're hungry. So first you got to attend to their physical need before you can tell them to follow Jesus, and Jesus is the supplier of all their needs. And that's exactly what Jesus did with Simon. He met his need first. He needed fish. He was a fisherman. And he asked him for a push, signifying that he needs help, which he clearly didn't need. So why is this push so significant? The request for a push can be seen as a metaphor for the way Jesus interacts with all of us. Before inviting us to follow him, he often meets us at our point of need, offering assistance, understanding, and guidance. This approach signifies Jesus' concern for our well-being and his willingness to meet him where we are. So after teaching from the boat, Jesus astonished Simon by instructing him to let down the nets for a catch. Despite Simon's initial doubts, he follows Jesus' guidance and witnessed an incredible catch of fish. So you establish trust. Jesus asked him for a push, established trust. So when Jesus told him to do something, He did it even though he didn't think that it was necessary. He was, fishing all night and couldn't get any fish. Now, why is he going to do it again? But something told him to follow the instructions because trust was established, right? So it was in this moment of abundance that Jesus formally called Simon, James, and John to be his disciples by saying, don't be afraid. From now on, you will fish for people. So, yes. So to follow the train of thought, Jesus asked him for a push. Then he taught his lesson. Then he told him to throw out his net. And when he reeled in an incredible amount of fish, that's when he said, come follow me. I will make you fishers of men. So there is a principle, there is a process to build in trust. So that's basically what I want to leave with you today. Check out how the master operates. First, he established trust by asking for help. Then he performs a miracle of abundance. And then when we are in disbelief, he says, follow me if you want more. The story of Jesus asking Simon for a push before calling him to be a disciple holds a powerful lesson for all of us believers. It reminds us that Jesus meets us in our everyday lives, cares for our immediate needs, and only then extends his invitation to follow him. This approach embodies the compassion and wisdom of Jesus' ministry, showing that his call is founded on a deep understanding of the human experience. Yes, the human experience is, show me what you can do for me, right? The human experience is, I got to take care of my physical needs before I can go and look at personal growth, before I can go and become a follower, right? Of anything, not just Jesus, but anything, right? Your physical needs takes precedence, because if you're hungry, if you're not safe, if you're afraid, then that controls your whole brain, whole thought. So yes, look after the physical need, build trust, and then you can move on to bigger and better things. Hope you got something out of this today. I hope you understand the process of building trust. That is the same process you can take with you into building trust at work, building trust with your children, building trust with your spouse or partner. Yes, do something first for them, and then they will start trusting you. So thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. If you're listening to this on YouTube, would love for you to subscribe and leave a comment. If you're listening to this on iTunes, would love for you to subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Until next time, namaste.